Hi guys, it is City Gal, Country Roots, and today we're going to be talking about how I'm getting through this freaking quarantine. Being a people person, somebody that gets energized by having people come over, by going to visit other people, and how I'm kind of dealing with being self-isolated. And so one of the things that I do, and that you can read a little bit about in the blog, is that I really like crafting. And so one of the things is that I come from a family of artistic people, of crafty people, of DIY people. And, that's kind of always been within me. However, something I'm really learning about, learning how to homestead, planning one day to have a bigger one of my own, a farm, that kind of thing, is that you have to be really considerate of the fact that you're not going to be able to leave home all the time, right? I have up and coming baby chicks, all these kind of things that are going to depend on me in the morning and the night. You can see back here, right? You can see my not so wonderful right now turtle tank. We have to do a water change. But Michelangelo depends on us every day. We have feeder guppies that need to be fed. So we're already starting to get in, and our dogs, we're already starting to get into the habit of, being homebodies, because that's what it's going to kind of require. And so part of that is A, got to be at home. B, I also want to make this house and any future houses our home. Right, and so part of that for me is decorating. Right, my mom used to like to do little crafty things for the holidays, and so I'm kind of keeping up with that tradition, and now I'm really more so getting into decorating for all the holidays. As you can see, I still have a little shamrock that I got from the dollar store up, and so I'm kind of in the transition from St. Patty's Day, which was a couple days ago, into putting my Easter and spring stuff up, and actually going to be creating some of that today. So one thing that I created the other day while my niece was here is I made my welcome wreath. Okay, for spring. Everything that you see here, other than the twine, which I don't even know where I got that, I just have that, I got from the dollar store. I love Dollar Tree, right? Family Dollar, all of those things. I love them all, okay? And so that's where I got all of these things from. One thing I like about it is that I can get a ton of stuff. Yeah, I end up spending maybe $50 or $60 on the decorations, like the stuff, but you're gonna see that I'm gonna be able to do a lot with it. So I'm gonna be doing, I already did this wreath. I'm going to be doing this wreath today. And then I don't know if I'll do it in this video or in a different video. I'm also going to be making a little spring center piece that will go in here that I'll put on my table. So yeah, here we go. So the first thing I like to do is kind of look at all the different flowers that I have. And I have a ton. Like I said, the Dollar Tree by me, there's a couple, had awesome flowers, all different colors. This one's a little bit more fall, but I like that it kind of offsets everything. So what I do is I'm not going to use all of these flowers on one wreath, because that gets a little crazy, right? So I have a ton more, right? Tons and tons and tons and tons. So what I'll do is I'll kind of pick a big main flower that I like, and I haven't used this one yet with the white and yellow. And then I kind of just look through all of the other flowers that I have, and I try to get a variety of shapes and sizes. I also try to look at the leaves, because you can also, I like to put some of those on the wreath too, either with the flower itself or just by itself, where I feel it needs a little green. Let's see, do I like the white? Pink. I think I like the darker. And then we can get some little pink, some different shapes in with that. And then I think, where are they? Yeah, and these, because I have a good amount of those. So those are the flowers that I'm going to use for this. Again, I'm sure that there's people that are super picky about it, that kind of thing. But for me, I just want it to kind of look bright and pretty and fun. And I'm not super crazy concerned about are these all the right, floral designs. One thing that I do know, though, is that you're supposed to use odd amounts of flowers. My mom used to work a long time ago when I was super little. She used to work at AC Moore, right? I know, right? They're closing. She used to work at AC Moore, and she spent a lot of time in the floral department. And so that's something that she kind of learned, that it should be kind of in odd number groupings when you're doing things. There's just something more aesthetically pleasing. I don't know if it has to do with the brain or what it is, right? But people like it. So we're going to turn this into a really pretty wreath that I'm going to hang up in my sunroom on the back door. So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. If I'm starting with something like this where it's kind of green and it's like for the spring, you don't have to wrap it. In fact, sometimes it's easier not to wrap it in words, in ribbon, but because you can just kind of like stick the floral right in. And other times it's kind of a pain in the butt. So for this one, instead of wrapping it like I did this one, I'm actually going to leave it unwrapped for now so I can get all the flowers in there, all that kind of stuff. And then I'll wrap whatever I feel like still needs to be wrapped. So I'm definitely going to use my floral. I also have, these I did get from Michael's. Okay, this is not a Dollar Tree purchase. I went the other day with my niece, and she really liked these little birds in their nests. She decided that we needed to buy them. Dangers of taking a 5-year-old into the store with you. And so I am going to add those in as well as a little nod to her. And then the other thing that I had that I got in a 3-pack from the dollar store was it came with a spring medal, welcome, and then a bunny. I'm probably not going to use the bunny, but I am going to use the spring on my back door because I used the welcome on the other one. So these came in a pack of 3 for $1. Super awesome. So the first thing I like to do, just to make my life easy, is I go through and I kind of cut all of my flowers off quickly. I have these like wire cutters that make cutting some of these super easy, especially like the little thin stuff. Also, while I'm doing this, I already have my handy dandy glue gun heating up, so that way it is ready to go. You cannot be a crafter if you do not have a glue gun. Okay, you can get glue guns for pretty cheap, like maybe $5-6 from Michael's. They have, of course, like the glue sticks there as well. I think you can get them also at like the Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, any of those kind of places as well. But I'm not quite sure because normally I just pick those up at Michael's because they're not real expensive there. So this is one of the first videos that I'm doing. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little nervous, right? You would think that as a teacher of middle schoolers, right, talking to people would not make me nervous. However, having it recorded is a little bit new and different for me. But I think it's important to kind of share what you do with other people because, you know, especially in this day and age where we live so close but so far, right? So everyone's super close together. You can do all these things with the internet. However, people aren't always engaging with each other. So I think that's like something that's really important. So right now I'm just going to pull the leaves off really quickly. So that way I have a few of the leaves. I really like these leaves too because they're like long and these are like kind of like thicker and like shorter. So this is definitely a part that you can, you know, I like to just get it done all at once because I know that most likely, like once I start cutting these flowers, it's not like I'm going to put them in a vase or something because they're going to be missing big chunks of flowers. So, yeah, I kind of just cut them all, and then what I'll probably end up doing for that centerpiece is that I'll definitely use some of these flowers. Since I didn't use the ribbon, I also might end up covering a lot of this in kind of flowers and that kind of thing. So we shall see how this goes, how this plays out. One thing I really like about doing like wreaths is that you can kind of put whatever you want on them. That makes me really happy. As long as you have a glue gun and glue, you can pretty much get whatever you want to stick. Sometimes with like the styrofoam wreaths, right, it's a little tricky because they're styrofoam, right? So too much glue will definitely start to melt them a little bit. So just be careful with that. But overall, you can get pretty much whatever you want to stick on there. So I'm super interested to know kind of what are some crafts that you do, right? You can leave that in the comments. How are you getting through this freaking coronavirus quarantine stuff? You know, especially those of you with, with kids, because I unfortunately don't have them yet. And so, have my niece, spend a lot of time with her. But I know even as like a teacher, right, it's a lot going on right now. And so, I'm definitely missing my kiddos that I teach and worried about them and all that kind of stuff. So, enough random blabbering. So I have all of my flowers, right, give you a little look. I have all of my flowers pre-cut now, right, all on the table, kind of mixed up. And the thing that I like to do is I like to kind of start from the bottom. And like I said, if you kind of, depending on how you cut them, you can actually just stick them right in, right? So I like to start with like a big one kind of at the bottom, like my center, right? And then I kind of go around. And I try to keep in mind, right, that this has yellow and white, and so I want to do something directly next to it that breaks up those color patterns, right? So I don't want to put yellow directly next to yellow, right? So for this one, it's kind of like a weaker stem, so I am going to have to hot glue that one, but it's not a big deal. For certain like crafts and projects, I do more of like a planning before. With stuff like this, right, I try to just kind of do it organically. How kind of put it on, take a look, see how I like it, right? Does it fit there? Does it look right there? Would I prefer that it comes up, right? I just kind of really just play with it and see what's going on. So right now I'm going to just quickly go through and kind of put all this on, and I'll give you guys updates as I go. So here's just a little update, right? So what I did was just kind of filled in. You'll see that I actually added some of these pink flowers because I had a couple of those left, and I just felt like I needed another kind of bigger flower to kind of go with all the little ones that I picked. I also put like a little, I can pull this out. I also put like a little mark right here because that's kind of how I like it to be hanging right now. That's how I think it's going to hang, right? Putting my ribbon right there to kind of hold it up and let it hang. But we'll also see kind of like how it goes and how it grows, and I might even change it depending on like the balance of everything. And so if you take a look at this wreath, you'll notice that I do stuff in the bottom, and then I like to do like a little something over in a top corner. But I don't always like finish and go all the way around because sometimes, especially if I have like really pretty ribbon, I'm okay with some of the ribbon being exposed. But on this one, I didn't put any ribbon on yet. And I have some like Happy Easter ribbon that I think would look really pretty, but I'm going to kind of use it sparingly because I don't want this to just be like something I can leave up for Easter. I kind of want it to be for spring too. So I didn't want to cover the whole thing in like a Happy Easter. But I also have some like white with some like hints of pink in there that I could also use to make it a little bit more springy at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this guy back in at the top. Kind of fluff it up, play with these petals a little bit, and then I'm going to start building down this way. I think that I'm going to build down, and for this one, because it's so small, I think I have enough flowers that I can hopefully fill this in. And then I also still have my little spring sign to add, which I might even kind of put on this side and put a little of the ribbon right there. So kind of fill it out a little bit more and see how it goes. All right, guys, so here is the kind of finished product. Not, perfect, nothing like that, but it's something like I'm really happy with. It makes me smile. It makes me obviously think of spring. So I did run out of flowers a little bit, so I had some of that white like meshy ribbon stuff. So I just kind of put that on the top. The longer leaves that I had from one of the stuff that came with the flowers, I just kind of had those kind of go up the back, which I think gives it like kind of an interesting look, a little different. And then I kind of did like dense flowers down the bottom, and I started to spread them out a little bit more around the sides. And then, so by the time it reached the top, it kind of like trickled. And then I added my niece's birds down the bottom, and I added another one of the birds up top. And then I used just a little pink pipe cleaner that, if you look, I just kind of like twirled it and tied it. And then that's what I'm going to hang on my back door. So here are my two kind of springy wreaths. Front door one, made that the other day. Back door one, maybe I'll rotate them sometimes, whatever. But yeah, here are my two wreaths. I'm super excited about them.